How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Cyberpunk 2077 video. Now for today's video, I want to do something a little bit different than most of the things that you probably see for Cyberpunk on YouTube. I just wanted to make a list of all the things that, let's be honest, you're probably going to do as a new player in Cyberpunk 2077. RPGs are my favorite genre when it comes to video games. I absolutely love RPGs, games like Skyrim, Fallout, The Witcher, etc. So this list is kind of based off of things that I've done myself in pretty much every RPG I've ever played. So this list is based off of my personal experiences. This is just a list of things that I can pretty much guarantee a lot of the community is probably going to try out. So to start off this list, the very first thing that I think every single new player is going to do is take absolutely way too much time on the character creator. Anytime there's a character creator in a game, especially with a game of this size, I myself will just sit there for what seems like forever just creating my character. It doesn't matter what the game is, I will sit there and I will change every last detail of the character, even if you never see what the character looks like. I recently started playing Demon Souls on the PS5 and I spent maybe a half an hour making my character look different, and then I never saw my character's face ever again throughout the entire time that I played. So with all the customization options that they're adding into this game and the fact that you can even customize your genitals, I would imagine the majority of the player base is probably going to spend a considerable amount of time just sitting there in the creative menu. And then next up on the list, I know one of the #1 things that is on most people's mind when they start off this game is going to be to try to steal a car. I don't care who you are, I don't care what your situation is, at some point you're going to see some sort of fancy car that you like, or some car that looks like it's in a secluded area, and you are going to want to, steal this car. Anytime there's an open world game like this, that's just what people gravitate towards. I don't know why. Same thing happened with Grand Theft Auto. As soon as you start up in Grand Theft Auto, one of the first things you want to do is, go and steal a car. In Skyrim, as soon as you come across horses for the first time, you probably want to steal a horse because you can't afford to buy a horse. So I would imagine for like 90% of the player base, one of the first things they do is as soon as they see a fancy looking car, they're probably going to try to take it. Which segues us into the next point, which is get a wanted level / kill civilians. And let's face it, at some point you're going to see some police officers, you're going to see the equipment they're wearing, you're going to feel a little cocky because you've leveled up a couple times, you've got some better equipment, and you're going to want to test out your abilities, and you're going to want to see how the wanted level system works compared to a game like Grand Theft Auto or Skyrim or Fallout, for example, and maybe an NPC or a civilian makes you angry, or they just got in your way, or maybe you're just in a bad mood and you feel like just killing everybody in the street. Now obviously this isn't going to fit everybody's playthrough and not everybody's going to get wanted, but you can always just load your game and experiment. You could just go through, wipe out a bunch of people, get a wanted level, run away, see how long that you get wanted. But I guarantee at some point everybody's going to go through the thought process of, hey, how much can I get away with in front of the police? And since we're already talking about the police and getting wanted levels, at some point you're going to try to want to steal something. Now we don't know for sure yet how this works in Cyberpunk, but in most RPGs you can steal or take items. So if there's some sort of stealing mechanic, you're going to want to either go into a store and steal something, maybe somebody has a really cool item on their person and you're going to want to kill that person and take their items. I'm willing to bet at some point you're going to see some sort of item that catches your eye, and it's always easier to steal than to straight up buy whatever it is you're looking for. Or maybe there's a weapon that you see and the only way to get it is to kill somebody or to steal the weapon. So at some point you're going to want to try to steal stuff. Let's hope it's not set up the same way as Skyrim, where you can just hide in plain sight and steal things right in front of people and they just don't notice.
Maybe you're looking for something particular.
So up next, as you're exploring Night City, at some point as you're exploring Night City, you're going to come across the ocean, and let's face it, you're going to want to test it out. You're going to want to see how your character swims. A lot of people do this in pretty much every video game. That's one of the first things people do in Spider-Man games is go to test if you can swim or not. Because for the longest time in most games, if you just jumped in the water, you would just instantly die. So a lot of people are going to want to test this out. They're going to jump in, they're going to find out how long you can hold your breath, they're going to want to see if there's anything hidden under the water. Do you need scuba gear to go underwater? Can your character swim? Does your character have to learn how to swim? There's a lot of questions that a lot of people are going to be asking themselves when they see water. So I'd imagine that everybody playing this game, the first time they get their chance to go near water, they're probably going to want to test it out. Now next up on the list, let's be honest, you're going to check out a strip club or you're going to check out the PP shop. And if you say that you're not going to, you're probably lying. Same goes for Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto Online. If you haven't been in the strip club, have you really ever played Grand Theft Auto? I'm pretty sure like 99% of people that have ever played Grand Theft Auto have been in the strip club at some point. So the fact that there's an entire street in Cyberpunk 2077 called Jig Jig Street dedicated to just nothing but sex shops and strip clubs, at some point, no matter who you are, I think you're going to get a little bit curious, maybe in the late hours of night gaming, and you're going to want to check it out just to see what all this street has to offer. And since we're already on the topic of strip clubs, next up on the list is getting laid. Now in big open world RPGs, romance is always a big feature that a lot of people enjoy. In Skyrim you can get married, in The Witcher you can have sex with multiple different people, you can have sex with prostitutes, in Grand Theft Auto you can hook up with strippers, you can pick up prostitutes on the street, and in this game you can do the same. You can either have a romantic relationship with one of the characters that you meet as you're playing through the game, or if you just don't want to deal with a relationship, you can just go walking the streets and pick up one of the prostitutes. I think at some point or another, a lot of people are going to get curious just how these scenes work, because all these sex scenes are going to be in first person. So a lot of people are going to be curious just how detailed and graphic these are. So I think a lot of new players are going to be wanting to test the waters here with the whole sex scenes and stuff. So after you're done getting laid and spending your time in the strip clubs, next up on the list is that new players are going to want to explore everything. When you finally get to experience Cyberpunk 2077, one of the first things you're going to want to do is test out the map. You're going to want to explore every nook and cranny. You're going to want to drive around the city. You're going to want to go up and down and check out all the skyscrapers, go out into the Badlands. You're going to want to explore all the scenery, check out all the nooks and crannies. Are there any secrets hidden away? Are there any locked doors that you can maybe unlock later? Is there hidden loot hidden off in some cave out in the Badlands, or on top of a skyscraper roof, or down in the sewers or something? Every single player is going to want to check out the entire map of Night City. And going back to the whole swimming thing, there could potentially be tons of stuff hidden underwater. There is going to be so much stuff to explore in Night City and in Cyberpunk. The map is going to be pretty big. I've seen reports of this being one of the most in-depth and one of the biggest cities ever in video game history, and I just absolutely cannot wait, and I know every single new player can't either. Which brings us straight into the next point, which is getting overwhelmed with quests. As you're going out on your own and you're exploring, you're probably going to run into some pretty interesting NPCs. You're going to stumble across things that you probably weren't prepared to stumble across. Maybe you run into a random event. Maybe you run into an NPC that needs your help. You never know what's going to happen when you're exploring in an RPG. And anytime I ever explore an RPG, suddenly I go from having 1 or 2 quests to having like 12 to 15 to 20 quests, and I have absolutely no clue what I'm supposed to do. I get completely overwhelmed, and I just have to take a step back and start doing one quest at a time because I just get completely lost. And that's actually one of my favorite things in RPGs, is just going out, exploring the world, and just getting quest after quest after quest, and just having absolutely no clue what to do and going around and figuring things out as I go. And I guarantee this is going to happen to the majority of players. They're going to get a little off track from the main story. They're going to want to branch out and kind of do their own thing, and they're going to get a little overwhelmed because this game has a lot to offer. And then the final thing I decided to put on this list is reloading your checkpoints. Now in Cyberpunk 2077, there are a lot of options. Your choices matter in Cyberpunk. Every single dialogue option you choose could branch you off on a different path. Every single person watching this video could be doing the same exact quest, but because every single one of you is going to choose different dialogue options and you're going to decide to do every single quest differently than one another, there's like endless possibilities to completing missions. And let's face it, you're going to make mistakes, and a lot of people don't like living with their mistakes in games. So with this game having so many different dialogue options, I would imagine a lot of people are probably going to make a decision, find out the decision decision was the wrong decision, and then they're going to want to reload the checkpoint and try the different dialogue option. I myself am guilty of this. When I played Mass Effect back in the day, I was upset when I got one of my teammates killed in Mass Effect 2, so I reloaded the checkpoint and tried every single possible outcome to keep that teammate alive. Now, sometimes I like to live with my decisions. It really just depends on my mood, and sometimes I like to live in the moment. I mean, real life decisions have consequences, so I kind of like to do that in video games as well. But sometimes if the decision is just absolutely horrible and I know I really screwed up, it's really tempting to just hit that load button and give it a second chance. So I would imagine that a lot of players are probably going to end up doing this as well. Especially if you find out that one of your decisions made you end up missing out on some really cool gear, then it's really going to be tempting to just hit that load button, get that really cool item that you missed out on, and then continue playing the game with that better outcome. But that is going to do it for my list, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Are you guys going to see yourselves doing these things on this list? And if there's anything else that you guys would add to this list, please let me know down in the comments. I find it really interesting to read your guys' comments and opinions on this game since I'm so excited to play Cyberpunk. We're a little over 2 weeks away to finally get our hands on this game, and I just can't wait. So if you guys don't want to miss out on any Cyberpunk videos, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications. That way you guys don't miss out on any news updates or any future videos I have planned. You can follow me on Twitch at 20playsgames live, and you can join the channel's Discord. And that is going to do it for me, everyone. And I will talk to you all in the next video.